Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got news of illustration contest winners that are going to be available over in Japan in the not too distant future. And I, for one, am very excited indeed. Of course, we talked a little while ago about this illustration competition which was going on. Well, we did have the winners. But now, and I think this is rather more exciting, we've now got the winners being turned into Pokemon cards. We've got the actual cards, and I'm just going to say it. I actually translated these all by myself. The lovely Antoine Boulet was nice enough to let me know that I did get them right, which is very kind of them. But I did these translations all by myself, and I'm very happy indeed. What we've got is we've got an Arcanine, we've got a Greninja, and we've got a Bulbasaur. And if we start with the Arcanine, which I think artwork-wise is my favourite of them, what's really cool here is because we had this as an illustration competition, we've got the proper artwork. We've got the file that was put up onto the website showing this artwork properly, so you can see how this artwork gets turned into a Pokemon card, which is not something we see all the time. Bit less interesting for a full art, honestly, because you'll notice the art has all been done to the right dimensions. Really, all they've done is put a border around it, but still. For what it's worth, here is the Greninja. Wonderful artwork by, I should actually be calling out the artist here, really, shouldn't I? It seems a little bit rude if I don't. So Greninja here is by Tiger Kasai, and I should mention that the Arcanine was by Rend. And then we've got the Bulbasaur, which is absolutely adorable. Julie Hang went and did this one. This one is just absolutely stunning. The artwork here is absolutely adorable. So that then leads to the question of, well, all right then, how do we actually get these? Well, good news, ladies and gentlemen, because that has been announced as well. Pokemon have gone and told us what the deal is. From December the 16th, that is Friday, until they're gone. For what it's worth, when they've done these previously, and we'll talk about the previous ones in a moment, these have lasted a little while, so it shouldn't be kind of like you've got to get there, as soon as it opens, but these are very, very cool. And when you spend 2,000 yen or more on products at participating stores, you'll receive a set of free promo cards. And I cannot explain enough how much I adore this. Because the other option to do, and then Pokemon have done this, and a bunch of other card games have done this in the past, is when you get one. You get just one of the free. So then you have to kind of buy free packs, or buy 2,000 yen's worth of stuff 3 times to get free packs. And then you're kind of crossing your fingers that you get the right ones, and then you end up not getting all 3 different ones, and then you've got to go and try again, and it just becomes awkward. Getting a set of free, absolutely brilliant, absolutely love it. And it's unlikely that any of these cards end up being hugely expensive. Again, we'll get to the previous ones recently, but if the illustration Charizard ended up being really super cheap, then I don't think any of these 3 are going to end up really commanding much value whatsoever. The interesting thing, and ladies and gentlemen, I wish I could give you a better answer here. But remember, this is the first time that the illustration competition was open outside of Japan. The previous illustration competitions were Japan only. And the promo cards were released in Japan only, but that made perfect sense because it was a competition for Japan only. Why would a Japanese illustration competition have the prize promo cards released in the USA? That doesn't make much sense, does it? But now we're talking about a situation where the illustration competition was open to the US. I could see these getting an English language release in the US. Now, let's be perfectly clear, I do not know that that's happening. I am making a prediction and nothing more. But the illustration competition was open in Japan and the US. I would expect these cards to be released in Japan and the US. I would not expect a European release because the illustration competition wasn't open in Europe. But imagine being somebody who went and won with an illustration that you entered from the US and then not being able to go and get that card. because it's only released in Japan. That would be weird, wouldn't it? So I don't know if these are going to be made available outside of Japan as it stands at the moment. I'm sure they'll probably announce it between me making and uploading this video, which would be really annoying. But yeah, I do think that is very important to note. So yeah, that's cool. These are very cool cards. What do they actually do? Well, like I say, I did translate these myself. We've got an Arcanine that for free energy does 160 damage, and this Pokemon cannot attack next turn. And look, I think it's pretty obvious at this stage that's not good enough, because 160 doesn't get Pokemon V. And if you're putting free energy on a stage 1 Pokemon, you want to be getting Pokemon V. The artwork is absolutely stunning. I don't think anyone's going to look at this card and be surprised that it went and won the illustration competition. But I think in terms of playability, this card is, shall we say, underwhelming. Now, the Greninja for free water energy, or 1 water, 2 colorless, does 120 damage, and then you select 3 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and you deal 10 damage to each of them. So it's not 120 to the active, 10 to all of the bench, it's 10 to 3 of the bench at your discretion, which is fine. It is important to note you are doing damage. You're not dropping damage counters. It's as damage, not dameka, which is, or Damacan, which is damage counters. They are very different, you can tell them apart. And basically that means that Manaphy will block it. Is that going to be terribly relevant? I don't know, probably not, to be honest with you. This is a stage 2 Pokemon. This attack is not particularly good. Sorry about that. But the one I weirdly do like is the Bulbasaur. Now look, it's a basic Pokemon that's meant to evolve into a stage 2. It was never going to be a powerhouse card. It's not meant to be a powerhouse card. However, what it does for 1 grass energy is flip a coin until you get tails and draw 1 card for each heads that you flip. This one was a little more difficult. I did get it myself, but I did have to just double check by comparing it to the Friendly Score Bunny promo just to make sure I'd definitely done it correctly. And I did. So yay, go team and all of that. But the point is, I mean, if you look at the other Bulbasaur available, this has got 70 HP and there's no way to get any more. And there's no Bulbasaur we've got that's got a good or useful attack. So actually, it's got the same HP and a better attack than any other Bulbasaur we've seen. So yeah, this is actually, like, kind of good. I think this becomes the best Bulbasaur. As weird as that is, I think this becomes the best Bulbasaur we've got. So, and we don't have a good Venusaur right now. I mean, the best one we've got is probably the one from Pokemon Go. And I want to like the one from Pokemon Go. I'm not trying to be a big old meanie here, but the one from Pokemon Go, that's the one that's got an ability, lets you flip a coin if heads, switch one of your opponent's bench while they're active, and a new active is now asleep and poisoned. I mean, look, maybe this new Bulbasaur unlocks that Venusaur. I rather suspect it probably doesn't. But it's kind of a nice idea, isn't it? I don't know. That amuses me. Now, like I say, we have seen a couple of illustrations before. The first one, we had the illustrator Gardevoir. If I go onto eBay right now, there's a couple of ones next to each other. We can see $12.50 and $8.66, including free shipping. This is not an expensive card. It's not supposed to be an expensive card. It's supposed to be like a fun little promo that celebrates the amazing artwork of the person who did it. And this Gardevoir has become a very, very cheap card. And bearing in mind, this card came out years ago at this point and is still rocking along quite nicely and quite cheaply. And we can say the same kind of thing with Charizard. I mean, the top listing on eBay at the moment in the US is $7.50 with free shipping. And this is a Charizard. Now, there was initially a little bit of a panic. People thought this was going to be an awkward promo to get hold of, and it was going to be very limited, and obviously it's Charizard, and everybody loves Charizard. People were worried that this would be a hard card to get hold of. Nah. I want another one. Here's a listing for $6.80. There we go. Save yourself 70 cents. And they've sold 4,200 pretty much. So, yeah, don't worry about it, honestly. Like, these cards, the Gardevoir and Charizard were done in pretty big numbers. We have seen some of these promos getting out of hand in recent years, and Pokemon are really good right now to make sure that these kind of promos are printed in good numbers so that the value doesn't get dumb. And they've done a great job of that. The last 2 illustration promos have been released in big numbers. The value has been very low. And here, it seems like exactly the same thing is happening. It doesn't seem like these are going to get expensive. Plus, it's a pack of 3 you get rather than the one individually, so yeah. These should be nice and cheap to pick up if you are so inclined to do so. These should legit be like $3 or $4 cards each, and I am loving it, ladies and gentlemen. This makes me very, very happy indeed, because these are cool cards. I mean, the Arcanine is absolutely stunning. I suppose the Greninja is my least favourite of the 3, but that's not really saying very much. It's like, what's your least favourite flavour of delicious cake? So yeah. These are out, these are cool, and actually they're not out, but they will be as of mid-December, and now it's time to start getting excited, and of course, it's time to start telling me what you think about these, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, you can join a Discord and chat with us, I answer all your questions on the bonus pod, of course, and you can get shout-outs on these videos, like the lovely James Siapinski, and I'm very sorry for the almost certainly terrible pronunciation, who's one of our newer supporters and is apparently a very lovely person. So thank you very much for the support, and thank you for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.